There's a unique emotional connection between Udonis Haslem and Miami because of how proudly he represents this city and this city's story.
And they don't get much better than this.
Dozens of young kids playing football at this park right behind us when all of a sudden police say two masked men opened fire.
I'll show you where I first started playing ball at right here.
They tell us the shots came from this side of the street right into the park. Unfortunately, 4 kids becoming innocent victims.
This is where we played at when we were small. See, right over there, we first started playing at those small baskets. It was small enough for everybody, all the kids to play at.
At around 6 Tuesday night, bullets went flying at West Little River Park during a youth football league practice. Police say the intended targets were not hit.
We used to go through my grandma's backyard and jump the fence. That little green house right there, that's my grandmother's house.
The glamour and the glitz of Miami is not Udonis's Miami. Udonis's Miami is the inner city.
When you hood, you good. House man, you 305, you heard me?
When his mother passed away, the wake, when Pat Riley came in and all his teammates came in, it wasn't in glitzy Miami. It wasn't in fancy fluorescent light Miami. It was in the heart of what is his home, which is a more difficult Miami, a grittier Miami, a tougher Miami, but a Miami where he's a favorite son.
We're coming up on the hospital that I was born at right here. It's North Shore Hospital. Yeah, this is where I was born. Basically, we're in Carol City right now. We call it Miami Gardens area. I lived here until I was about 10 years old. Right up there, I think it's 214. Yeah, that's where I lived at. It was me, my stepmom, my dad, my stepbrother, my stepsister, and my aunt. That's where we lived until I was 10, and then we moved into a house.
His mom and dad were very hardworking people, very prideful people. His sisters had a very close-knit family. They were all very supportive of Udonis.
I was blessed to have a loving, wonderful stepmother who brought me in and treated me like her own. You know, it's very rare sometimes, you know, you have step-parents that, you know, don't get along with the stepchild. They don't treat them like their own child. She brought me in and she treated me no different than she treated her own child.
He's a guy that had great family, great parents, people that really raised him the right way. And probably if you talk to Udonis, he probably one of those kids that could have gone the other way.
You know, I had friends that if they were involved in certain things or whatever they were doing, they never involved me because they understood that I played ball and I had the opportunity to kind of go a little further, which is, you know, a blessing because I know a lot of guys who, you know, mistakes have cost them a lot of different things. I was always bigger than everybody, but I think at that time I was the worst ball player. I was one of the youngest. You know, my coordination hadn't quite caught up with me. My athleticism hadn't caught up with my size and everything, so, you know, it was just for fun, you know what I mean? I loved it. You know, my heart was in football, though. As a kid, I really loved football. Yeah, I played up until 10th grade. Oh, yeah, I was a big hitter. I was a big hitter. I was a defensive end. I was good, man. I was really good. Took a shot to the knee, and I was like, you know what? That's it. Took a shot to the knee, and I took my uniform off, and I never went back. But I was good. Football was my first love. I just feared that if I kept playing, I would lose football, basketball, and everything else if I keep taking shots like that to the knees. So it's a lot of guys you have that they choose the sport, and the sport chooses them. I was one of those guys where I choose the sport, and the sport didn't choose me. I was more of a physical guy, and I would prefer to play football at that time, but I'm not disappointed in the decision that I made.
Welcome Welcome to the 6A Championship, the big-time program in the state of Florida. Miami High looking for its 18th state champions.
They have the size, they have the strength, led by the big man, Udonis Haslem. He is headed for the University of Florida. Believe me, Billy Donovan and the Gators are happy to have this man.
Seeing Udonis, we felt like he'd be a guy with his size and physicality that would be able to impact our team.
You know, you don't get too many coaches that come down into the inner city and recruit basketball players or football players. Sometimes coaches rather not deal with those type of environments, and they don't really understand that good kids do come out of those environments. They just need a chance to prove that they are good kids, and Coach Donovan gave me a chance.
What's interesting is basketball has evolved a great deal since then, as has football, but at the time that was a rarer thing, the idea of the white coach going into the inner cities and mining ghetto talent.
I grew up in New York, and I played with a lot of kids that were from different projects, different neighborhoods, and a lot of times I would go into those projects, and those guys always treated me like I was their brother. And I think in order to build that relationship with somebody, you got to put yourself in their environment and the way they're growing up.
I actually came down in Liberty City to my grandmother's house and met with my family throughout the recruiting process, and he was probably the first coach to do that, and at that time he had to be the last. My mind was made up. I actually, committed early. I never took a visit anywhere else. I wanted to play for Coach Donovan. I believed in what he was preaching. I believed in the guys that he was bringing in. I believed that we can turn that program around, and we were fortunate enough to do so.
At that stage, we were still in the process of building. Trying to build some consistency and a winning program, and trying to establish some tradition there. And
those guys and that team, they're the ones who built it.
I tell our guys all the time, our practice facility, the different things that we have now have been afforded to a lot of our guys today by the sacrifice. I look at where Matt Bonner and Teddy Dupay and Udonis practiced. They practiced on a side auxiliary gym in the O'Connell Center because of the success, because of what those guys did, because of the commitment to winning. They totally changed the face of our program.
Before those guys got there, it wasn't sustained. It was a flash across the sky. Those guys made it something that would endure and that would have some legacy, would have some name attached to it.
That's something that I'll always be proud of, because I was one of the first group of guys that actually started the process and laid the foundation, for the basketball program, that everybody's so proud of today.
I think when you're trying to build tradition and a foundation, when you're the first people to kind of put your footprints in a program, that's going to be lasting for the rest of their life. They're always going to be remembered here at the University of Florida for what they did, and they will all go down as some of the greatest players to play here.